How's it going, guys? Right now you're watching some of the Red Dead Redemption 2 and also the Witcher 3 gameplay. Hopefully I can get those two around. Basically I wanted to talk about, well, you can already read by the title of this video as well, that the Witcher 3 is a actual better game instead, like comparing to a Red Dead Redemption 2. So from both the two games I will state the obvious facts as well. Which game does it better, which game does it worse, and as well as the comparison on both. One of the things that I personally do want to get out of the way is just that I do not mind the fact of the West-all shooter, the cowboy type of the Red Dead Redemption 2s. I do not mind that. I like to play those sort of the games as well. Now, and one other thing I also do not mind about the fantasy elements of The Witcher 3. In fact, I really do appreciate it, like it being as a little bit of a diversity that you can actually have, because you know you can still make some shit up and yet it will work. Now, that's not regarding the point of being the major standards and also the major answer right in front of you that should be actually to be considered. Now, what I wanted to talk about is the comparison, in fact, of these two games and what, why did I even want to make this kind of commentary. It can actually end up bringing in a very big controversy, and also a lot of people may disagree with me and what I'm about to say, but everybody is entitled to their own opinions. And if you want to go ahead and give it a dislike, it's up to you. Give it a like, it's up to you again. Now, one of the big reasons what Red Dead Redemption 2 has absolutely awful is the major problem of the game, is the controls. And it's just that as a slow type of paced game, don't get me wrong, Witcher 3 was a slow type paced game as well, but it does have a lot better controls compared to Red Dead Redemption 2, probably even ever will have. And so basically Red Dead Redemption 2's main controls are goddamn awful, and that's the major problem that it has facing. And because of that, this is the problem that you and many other people will not be able to continue playing through the game, the story. Now, I was already familiar with the controls, that they're being clunky, they're being very slow, they're being feeling shit because of the Grand Theft Auto, and I like Grand Theft Auto games, right? Grand Theft Auto 5, I finished it like 3 times, and I really did appreciate it, and I have played tons and tons of online. Online, another thing, Witcher 3 does not have an online mode, and hell, I think that might be a strong suit for it, because the Red Dead Redemption 2 online is complete pathetic. It's shit. It's garbage. I'm not going to say that, I'm not going to hold off, right? I'm going to state my opinion about this. It's garbage, and it is. If you do not see it, I don't care. It's just my opinion. So basically, let me just get to the other, the obvious facts. Online is heavily based on the controls. If the controls feel shit, you can't really enjoy the game, unfortunately. The single player mode of the Red Dead Redemption 2 is goddamn fantastic, and I love it, and so many other people as well. The online mode is a little bit of a different story, due to the fact that if you have shitty controls, that actually is the main standard of being, playing against versus people, players versus players, players versus the environment, like the NPCs that you need to kill them. Everything stands for as being an importancy of having a good controls. Isn't that right? Do you agree or do you disagree? If you do not agree with me, I guess you're very easily entertained, and I'm not trying to pull any strings right here. I'm not trying to piss anyone off as well. I'm just stating the obvious. If you do not see that Red Dead Redemption's controls are bad, that let me just get this one other thing very straight. The very obvious thing is so many reviewers out there have said that the controls are pretty shitty on the Red Dead Redemptions 2. Now maybe as well Rockstar has done this on purpose, but it does not make any sense that up to 3,000 people working on this game, or whatever amount of people, is a giant phenomenon of the game. And the only thing that they did not improve, that was actually mandatory, because Grand Theft Auto 5 had a similar issue, it was the controls. I do not understand. In fact, let me get this out of the way. It might have even gotten worse. because they slowed down the type of the game that Rockstar are familiar with. Grand Theft Auto is very quick, it's quicker, right? They did slow it down compared to Grand Theft 4. It still is a quicker game than a Red Dead Redemption 2. And I personally, my opinion guys, again, if that's the case, if you want to slow down the game, that does not mean that you're gonna have to make a shitty controls for the game. It does not matter if you play on an Xbox or a PlayStation. On both of those consoles, it feels shit. You know, the controls, how you shoot, how you handle your aiming and the to the enemies. If no auto aim, this game would have been unplayable for me and many other people as well. If there would be no auto aim, and that really is it's necessary for you to have a good controls. Witcher 3 does not have anything with that problems. Controls are fantastic. There's another thing people might argue, the fact that saying to me and you know, what the hell are you comparing these two games? Like, this one game is all about the, you know, a ranged shooter, and the other game is mostly about is a melee combat. Sure, okay. What about the open world? What about the storytelling? What about these sort of things? Okay, fine. But what about making just a comparison of seeing 2D games that they were trying to implement being as a 40 hours length story, and also which story does it better? That's another thing to get at as well. Me personally, I love Red Dead's 2, the campaign. Witcher 3, sure, it felt a little bit dragged on, because, you know, you were trying to find Ciri, right? Spoilers, I guess. Since when did that game come out? Like 3 years ago maybe already at this point? So basically you need to find Ciri, and half of the game's you know, playthrough, basically you were tracking down, being a detective pretty much, you know, and finding Ciri. What the hell happened to her and where could she have gone? I have to die. Like, don't get me wrong, that part of the just being a detective and trying to find the, you know, you need to locate Ciri, and that was okay, that was good, I liked it. And there's so many other people. Sure, it felt a little bit dragged on, whatever, but when the second part of the story came in, wow, now that escalated things to a major plot, and I think even made the game so much more better. Yeah. It's just the other thing is that Red Dead Redemption 2 is very slow type of paced game, right? Like, what you do is pretty much, you know, go there, kill that, come back, get this cutscene, go there, kill that, get back, get the cutscene. Sort of like that as well, a little bit. You can see that they kind of tend to repeat themselves. In single player, for example, if you do side quests, they are, you know, they don't respect your time, right? The side quests are not really, like, exactly tied into the main story. Don't get me wrong. Hey, listen. They do, but not exact. Not up to the degrees up to that The Witcher 3 does. Okay? Don't get that twisted, because that could have been a little bit different. Basically, The Witcher 3's, for example, you need to go hunting monsters and you on a contract, right? You get paid for it. Cool. You kind of have a side job. Red Dead Redemption 2 has somewhat of a similar aspects of it as well, like Freaks and Strangers, right? You go out there, you meet new people, you meet weird things around the world, but Witcher 3 has that as well. So what does this mean? Like, because like Red Dead Redemption 2 has contracts as well, like bounties. You collect them, you kill them, bring them alive, it's up to you. Now that's good diversity right there. And breathable, diverse, and compact world of the Red Dead Redemption 2, in my opinion, does it better than The Witcher 3. Now, I think that's a fact, in fact, what the hell. Basically, what I'm trying to get at, Red Dead Online was the, you know, it's a bad point, in my opinion, because that if the Red Dead Online have never came and we never would have known about it, right? I don't think that, my personal opinion, I think Red Dead Redemption 2 for sure earns a 9 out of 10. It's not a masterpiece. It's completely, definitely 100% not a masterpiece. Definitely not. And the online came out, I'm reducing it to 9.10, right? In my opinion, 9.10. Because the online is garbage. It really is garbage. If you think the online is good, I don't know what's wrong with you. Basically, The game, the online, let me tell you really quickly, it's boring. You have to grind because just to get cash. Microtransactions came out. Rockstar is saying this is a beta. It's not a beta. If you can purchase microtransactions, that's complete bullshit. If you do not see it, how can that be a problem? As I said, you're really easily entertained, and you're a fucking fanboy of Rockstar. I'm a fanboy of Rockstar, and I'm looking at this realistically. If you don't like what you are hearing currently at this moment, fuck off. Like, this is just my opinion. I'm being very strict and very straight to the point. Do you see right there, right? And my apologies. I do not want to get on anyone's bad side. All I'm just saying is my opinion. And if you do not like to hear what I want to express my opinion about, as I said, you are more than welcome to leave. Because I believe, personally, and many others do as well, and there's actually a poll came out, by the way, that Witcher 3 is a better game than Red Dead Redemption 2. Red Dead Online, I think, has actually made the game worse. When that came out, don't get it twisted, because the single player is different compared to online. So if the Red Dead 2 would have been only as a single player game and no online at all, it would have stayed at 9 out of 10. Why 9, not 10? Because of the controls. It's a complete major problem in the game. Now, online came out. Big problems, right? Do you not agree, or do you agree? Big problems anyway. Boring, grindy, unfair, monetization, beta, barely anything to do. Go fish, go hunt. Boring, every day, no thanks. And now they even made the adjustments, they updated things to make a fair price of all the things that you can sell. No, it only makes it more harder for you to make any of the purchases that you'd like to, for example, new weapons and guns and whatsoever, and jackets, maybe horses, you know. Is that a good thing? No, it's not. Basically, here you go, reduces the not a mark. 8 out of 10. So, 8 out of 10. Witcher 3, one major flaw, mind you, it's not even a major. It's just how they have went about of being, well, they have a shitty long-range shooting, the crossbow usage. It's not very good. I agree, but it's not major. You never have to utilize it with it. Never. Isn't that the fact? You're in the water, you use the crossbow, you kill an enemy with one shot. Under the water, by the way. It's pretty cool, you can even go under the water. Think about that. Right there, you just drown, pretty much. Well, I mean, it makes sense why. You're not really familiar with how you can swim exactly. But I don't see how you can even stay on the surface of the water, then you just like, whoops, down. And very good. Realism, my ass, not really. Anyway, another thing, this is opinion again. I personally think that Witcher 3 story has more replayability value. Online is different. Don't get that. Jesus, don't put this in here. Online makes a... If you say online is for it to be a replayability value, you progress through. If you're gonna tell me this, it's only making it worse things. The game is only gonna go reduction in the score than it has already. It's 8 out of 10. That's what Red Dead Redemption 2 deserves. Not meh. If I'm being nice, I'll say 9 out of 10. Just being nice. Witcher 3, I'll give it like a 9 minimum. 10 is a masterpiece. And to be honest, with all the stuff that it has, sure it has flaws, sure it has some story flaws a little bit as well, but they're not major flaws like having a shitty control as you are playing as Arthur Morgan, for example. Geralt of Rivia, at least he has better controls. Some people say it's an easy game when you get a grasp of it. What? Play a harder difficulty than if you think it's easy. If you're gonna tell me it was, I still managed to go through a whole game when I was playing on a very hard difficulty. Well, good. I'm sure you got your money's worth then, didn't you? Because the game and the story length is very long. Wow. Anyway, well, I have made few of these videos and making a bit of a comparison compared to the Red Dead Redemption 2 and Witcher 3. But that was as well before Red Dead Redemption 2 came out, and also I believe, so I might be wrong, it came out a couple weeks later. I made a video of this as well, which one's more worthy. and after I had played through Red Dead Redemption 2, but that was before online came out, mind you as well. Because if you want to review a game, you need to wait for the online mode that Rockstar has said that they will be developing and bring it out a little bit later. So they have. It's a complete disaster, in my opinion. Sure, it's fun for a week or two, maybe a month. But then when you realize what you are doing, it's complete grindy, repetitive missions that are not even worth it, and you only be ending up doing is hunting and fishing, just trying to sell the fishes after at the butchers. And now when they have fixed up the economy, the reduction of the prices are there. It's easier to get like a pistol that was worth $1,000 of cash. Now it's less, it's up to like 600, I believe, so somewhere around that price margin. But think about how long it will get you to get there. And think about as well how many other things that you can make the purchase while you are, you kind of have to work for it. And it's very unfair balance. I just do not see what could be an argument of, defending Rockstar's Red Dead Redemption 2. Rockstar are not a perfect developers. Closer is CD Projekt Red is actually a better developer than a Rockstar. Don't get that twisted, because like Rockstar, they do care, well, I hope anyway that they care about their games, because Grand Theft Auto, when that came out on day one, it was the same shit. Don't you agree? Come on. When Grand Theft Auto Online came out, there was the same problems, have nothing much to do, you need to grind out the missions or racings, and you get the reputation, you get the cash. You play it through, play, it was fun. I personally, when I have gotten my hands on Grand Theft Auto Online of the Grand Theft Auto 5, all I did was racing, because at least the controls wasn't as bad on the racing and using or driving a car. What does Red Dead Redemption have that you can actually try to sidetrack from what you have to mandatory do instead of shooting? You know what I mean? You can't really ride horses and have racings on just horses. For that, you can cheat. Use real money in real life, get gold bars, buy the most expensive horse that has the most stamina, is the fastest and the most responsive one. Because there are some horses with their own behavior problems as well, disadvantages that cannot listen to you sometimes. It's pretty cool with the realism, by the way, mind you. But if you're rich, here's your pay to win. Is that really fair? Is that really what you want from an online of the Red Dead 2? If you're gonna tell me that Rockstar are fixing this issue, look how long it took them to make some kind of a fixing issue for the Grand Theft Auto Online. Here's your answer right there. Go play Grand Theft Auto Online and tell me how much does everything else costs, up to millions and billions of bucks you need to have. And how can you get those? You can't work for them because it's not fair. With the racings that you can do, you can maybe get $5,000, over exaggerating here perhaps, even if you get $25,000, whatever. It's never enough, never. On top of that, daily chores, you have to pay for the rent of the apartment, so you lose more cash on that when you play through the game. Red Dead Redemption is no different. You pay for the cash to keep your camp fed and completely useless as well. Completely useless. There's a lot of exploits, a lot of glitches. Sure, it was necessary because if you want to continue playing the game and you want to get some kind of good cash, rewards, treasure hunts, whatever, bounties that you can't even collect, it seems like at this point. Yeah, what the fuck? Oh my god, I'm just seeing too many problems in Red Dead currently. This is why you do not want to compare Witcher 3 with Red Dead Online and Red Dead single player. Because Red Dead Online will only reduce the points that Red Dead single player has gotten. If Red Dead single player has gotten a masterpiece review and 10 out of 10, Red Dead Online comes out, it only will reduce the score. So here's your answer. So which is a better game? Which one feels better? Which one would you replay again and again? For the story-wise, I'm talking about, obviously. It's just that it. If you think which one is better and you still think that Red Dead Redemption 2 is a better game in your opinion, sure, you're entitled to your opinion. I respect it as well. But I'm me, and you are You are you. And yeah, I have stated my opinion. Again, thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe. Tell me down in the comments, am I wrong? Am I right? Do you think that Witcher 3 is a better game than Red Dead Redemption 2? Or vice versa? Anyway, have a good one. Like and subscribe again. And yeah, have a good one.